Grand Slam Club Ovis has now long established itself as the keeper of the records for what is known as the 700 Club. In 2005, sheep historian and writer Bob Anderson of Rockwall, Texas, wrote an article for Sports Afield entitled it 700 Club. At the time, Bob was keeping up with those who had taken a Dahl, Stone, Bighorn, and Desert with a combined record book score of 700 or more. Later, Bob and GSCO teamed up, and GSCO took over the formal documentation of the 700 Club accomplishment according to the highest score, whether it be SCI, Boone and Crockett, or Pope and Young scores. We'll now recognize our most recent inductees into the exclusive 700 Club in alphabetical order. We'll begin tonight's 700 Club presentation by honoring Billy Grissom of California. Billy traveled to Montana in 2016 and took a Rocky Mountain Bighorn that had an SCI score of 183 1/8. The Dahl sheep was next, and Billy took that great ram in the Yukon, and it measured 173 2/8. Billy has taken two great desert bighorns, but his 2018 ram is quite impressive with a BNC gross score of 185 7/8. Finally, you see Billy's stone sheep from the Yukon that measured 166 5/8 BNC gross for a total score of 708 7/8. We're pleased to recognize Washington's Kevin Klumper for his 700 Club Grand Slam, measuring 714 4/8 SCI and BNC gross. The Bighorn was first for Kevin, and he took a ram measuring 191 4/8 BNC gross on a hunt in his home state of Washington in 2013. Kevin connected on a fine NWT Dahl ram in 2015 that had an SCI score of 158 7/8. The stone sheep was next for Kevin, and he took a ram measuring 175 1/8 SCI on a hunt in BC. Finally, we'll wrap up with Kevin's Desert Bighorn, a huge ram from Mexico that had an SCI score of 189 0/8 SCI. Tonight we'd like to recognize Doug Leach of West Virginia for being the first person to have taken three separate 700 Club slams. Doug was recognized at last night's banquet for achieving his 11th Grand Slam. Up first, you saw Doug's 2007 Rocky Mountain Bighorn that measured 184 2/8 SCI. He traveled to Tiburon Island in 2010 and took a Desert Bighorn that had an SCI score of 186 6/8. That same year, Doug took a Fannin in NWT, measuring 167 2/8, and we'll finish up by showing Doug's great Dahl ram taken in 2018 that scored 165 1/8 SCI for a cumulative total of 703 3/8. Robert Rozier of Washington has a total of 6 North American wild sheep, and his largest 4 have a combined score of 717 7/8 SCI. We'll start with his Desert Bighorn from Mexico, scoring 188 6/8 SCI. His Dahl is up next, and that Alaska ram measured 164 1/8. As for the stone, Robert has 2 of those, and his second came in August 2019 and had an SCI score of 169 7/8. Robert's final ram for his 700 Club Slam, a Rocky Mountain Bighorn, was taken in New Mexico in August 2019 and had an SCI score of 195 1/8. Up next, we have a very special pair of 700 Club inductees, and only our second husband and wife on the 700 Club list. Incredibly, they're being recognized for having 2 700 Club Grand Slams each here tonight. Shelley Sayer of Idaho is up first, and her first 700 Club Slam had a cumulative total of 717 5/8 SCI. She's gone on to take several more rams, with the largest 4 getting her to an additional 700 Club Slam. Her home state Rocky Mountain Bighorn from 2013 was up first, and that great ram had an SCI score of 191 2/8. Shelley hunted Dahl sheep in Alaska in 2018 and took a fine ram measuring 164 6/8. She connected on a Desert Bighorn in Sonora, Mexico in January 2019, and it had an SCI score of 184 3/8. In November 2019, Shelley scored on a fantastic stone sheep in BC, measuring 172 6/8 to finish off her second 700 Club Slam, which added up to 713 1/8. Next up is Shelley's husband, Doug Sayer. We'd like to recognize him for achieving 2 700 Club Slams, the first of which had a cumulative SCI score of 700 2/8. The Stone was first for Doug, and he took that ram on a hunt in BC. It scored 151 6/8 SCI. Next up was Doug's impressive NWT Doll ram taken in 2011 that scored 165 3/8 SCI. The following month, Doug connected on a great home state bighorn, measuring 195 0/8, and he finished up with his first 700 Club Slam with a desert bighorn on Tiburon Island that scored 188 1/8 SCI. Doug's second 700 Club Slam came to a total of 705 7/8 SCI and will start with his 2017 Desert Bighorn from Tiburon Island, Mexico that scored 174 2/8 SCI. In 2018, Doug took a Doll sheep in Alaska measuring 163 1/8. August 2019 was a huge month for Doug in that he connected on two incredible rams. First was a Stone from BC that scored 164 5/8 SCI, and later that same month, Doug took a home state Rocky Mountain Bighorn that had an incredible score of 203 7/8 to finish off his largest 700 Club Slam. It's worth mentioning that between Doug's two 700 Club Slams, his four largest rams add up to 719 6/8 inches and were all taken within 12 months. Well, that completes tonight's 700 Club Grand Slam presentation, and we're so honored to be able to recognize this amazing group of hunters and conservationists. Let's give them all a big round of applause.